Welcome to the Life Atelier podcast. I'm your host, Emma Lavelle, and today I'm going to run through the Future Self Planner. So, this is one of the tools that we use inside the Life Atelier. Last week, I gave kind of an overview of what happens when you plan the day with your future self. This week, we've been working using this template. So, if you've got the YouTube video that goes with this, you'll see that I'm holding up. I keep calling it like a very professional worksheet, right? And it is still, it's a piece of paper that I'm changing. I literally just paused and started to re-record again because I was like, oh, what are we calling this, right? It's not the Life Atelier coaching model. It is a part of the Life Atelier coaching model. So the Life Atelier coaching model is number one, decide what you want, right? So we call that the project. And that is, for me, I love to think of projects rather than goals because it just feels more fun and it feels more doable and more active and less heavy, right? A goal or an aspiration or a, purpose, right? Which is something that I'm updating right now. It's one of the words that is part of this plan. But what I'm noticing as I start to work through this with you guys, as you come to these trainings with me, is there are certain words that will have a different impact on us. So this is very much a living template. My idea is today to get you like an actual digital version that you can then print and you can use it, but also you're going to adapt it yourself. So this is the planner, right? It's one of the tools inside the Life Atelier. I love to make sure people are implementing because I got stuck for years in like just absorbing and trying out different methods, buying more courses, buying more books, but not actually getting the results that I wanted to get. And there's all sorts of reasons for that, right? It's basically how our brain is designed. Our brain is designed to create confusion, to stop us from doing new things. Very good reasons for that. And what we want to do is interrupt that and get directly into the taking action, because then we get data and then we can take different decisions based on that data. So the Life Atelier coaching model is create space. Once you've got your project, you know what you want to do, create space, invest in yourself, and then activate belief, right? And so those three things are always working together. And if we don't have a result that we want, we can check in with one of those three things. So it may be that you find you're doing a lot, that activate belief. You're like, I know this. I know I can do this. I'm calling these people. I'm doing these things. I've got all of these pieces, but you're not resting. You're not sleeping. And I had an example of a woman I coached yesterday. She has a language learning goal and she's been working like 8 hours a day, then studying for 3 hours, then exercising. And the missing piece was she wasn't sleeping, right? So the investing in her brain being the powerful tool that it is, that wasn't happening. Nutrition, yes, that was covered, right? But she was not taking into account her background stress levels. So that investing in yourself piece, very often that can be the missing piece because society teaches us that doing is great, doing is valuable, but actually pausing to look after yourself. No, you can do that when you've achieved the thing. But once we start to prioritize the sleep, going to yoga, walking, if you're not a yoga person and you do something more like IT, more aggressive, then that's your bag. Social time, right? For years, I deprioritized having a social life. And I said that, I'll do more of that when I've achieved my business goals. But once I flipped that so that there was this creating space and investing in myself, and I prioritized my friendships and my social life, suddenly I had so much more energy for when I was working, so much more creativity, so much more problem solving that everything was easier. So that's your like triangle of the coaching model. This is one of the tools that is part of that, right? So this is going to help us check in. So what I like to do is to first of all start off with just this triangle up here, okay? And what we do inside the Life Atelier is we decide on your current project. What is the current most important thing to you? What are you working towards? It's like your long-term goal. And long-term might mean a couple of months, or it might mean a couple of years, but we don't wait years, right? We do our year goal in 3 months. That's my little smug promise to you. Okay. So for me, like before Christmas, it was Project Croissant, right? It was moving to France. It was moving to France. It wasn't about setting up my life in France. It was just get to France, get to France, get to France. Okay. Right now, I've got Project Trust Fund. And Project Trust Fund is all about teaching you and being the model for how to create impossible goals by having fun, by living what I teach. So I am bloody loving this at the moment. And it's hard, huh? It's hard. So then we also have our mind goal, and then our body goal, and our purpose goal. This word I'm possibly going to change because it's not hitting right with people. Mind goal is something, it might be you're prioritizing meditation, it might be you're learning something. For me right now, the thing keeping my mind occupied is French. My goal is to get to B2 by October the 1st. I'm currently A2. And so because I've set that goal, each day I'm thinking about, ooh, where could I put more French in? How could I make this more effective, right? Body. The last one that I had was getting a yoga practice. Okay, so from March until probably June, I was going to the yoga studio 3 times a week, and I was really looking at how do I make yoga as much a part of my life as cleaning my teeth. That's where I am now. Yoga is now like a non-negotiable. It just happens. It's the same as I wouldn't not clean my teeth. I wouldn't miss yoga, right? That's what we do. So the current one is actually teaching Rita how to feel confident and safe in the city and anywhere, right? Rita is my dog. If you're watching this for the first time, she has things to work on. Okay, so I have a therapeutic program that I'm working through with Rita, and that is my focus. Why? Because when I have a dog who is comfortable in the city, comfortable in the mountains, comfortable with other dogs, I can then have a lot more freedom of where I'm taking myself and where I'm going, right? So it does support her, but it also supports me. And then purpose, this is going to be your professional goal, or your, maybe you want to start volunteering, you want to set something up, you have a goal for your community, for your home, for your family, whatever it is. But it's like something that is, it's your kind of professional or impact, or, something that you want to do, right? Okay, so now up here, you'll see we've got the thought download. I sometimes like to write things out, but not too often, to be honest. You probably realize by now I'm a very chatty person. I like to use the application Otter. It's a transcription app. I have it on my phone. So usually what I will do is open the app on my phone, and I'll just walk around my apartment, or if I'm driving somewhere, I open it and I do this on the drive, and I'll actually work through these questions while I'm driving, and then I'll have them as a transcript ready with my action points when I arrive. Okay, so I'll put a link to Otter and you can see how to do that. Maybe I'll do a video of that one day. But if you like to journal, you like to write, you can just do it that way. We want to write down what we're thinking because most of our thoughts are subconscious. And those thoughts very often are driving what we do unless we intentionally pick the thoughts that we want to have in our mind. For example, if you write down, move to Paris, right? I'm going to use that as an example because one of my clients has got their own Project Croissant now, and their goal is to move to Paris in a couple of months. So let's say that's your goal, that's your project. You've written it here. You're like, yes, 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 yes. But subconsciously, you're thinking, this is impossible. I can't get a visa. I don't speak French. I won't be able to find work. Then your conscious and subconscious brain are working against each other, right? So we just want to use this as an opportunity to notice, okay, where can I just check in with what plan does my subconscious have, and how can I get that on board with my conscious brain? And at this point, we've got different tools in the Life Atelier. You might want to use a self-coaching model. You might want to pause to rewrite. There are different things that you can do with the information you get here. Then body check-in. Again, this just takes a second. Just pause and notice, okay, right? When I put my hand on my heart, I feel my stomach, I take a breath in. This it would tell me immediately because I take a breath in and my breath out would be like, right? And I'd realize, oh, look, I'm not breathing properly. Oh, look, I've got shallow breath. Maybe I'm a little stressed, right? Maybe you might notice, like right now, I notice, oh, I'm hungry. I haven't actually eaten this morning. I've had coffee, but I haven't had food. Sometimes that's fine, sometimes that's not fine. You might notice you're thirsty. Maybe you need the loo, right? So at this point, we can just listen to our body and then action. Notice, what do we need? Now I've put a little smiley face because also you might notice, I feel good, right? I feel great. I am ready for today. In which case, let's notice, what did you do previously that means you now feel amazing? And what came up on one of the live calls this week was our member had been in the mountains at the weekend. And by being in the mountains at the weekend, by Tuesday, she still felt amazing, right? She still felt great. So I just love that because it's a really great moment to check in with what is working so we can do more of it, as you'll see down here. And yeah, perfect. Then, quick one here. Again, you may want to write this out, you may not, you may just have it in your mind. Future self. What we like to do in the Life Atelier is pick 3 words to define your future self, right? So for me, it is powerful, playful, unstoppable, okay? And those 3 things, I mean, it's my present self as well, right? And this is what we're doing. We're actually integrating your future self, your past and your present, but save that for another day. So those 3 words, just to pull you back to, if you notice like, okay, wait, my future self is decisive. How can I be decisive right now? What are the thoughts that the decisive version of me has? And if you are thinking, I don't know, then this is a great place to explore that, to look for an example of a place that you're decisive. And we can use this example of maybe having a coffee, right? I decide I'm having a coffee. I don't like call someone and ask them, should I have a coffee? Or maybe you do. Okay, I've been there. So in that case, maybe it's you don't decide to clean your teeth or not, right? You're not indecisive about cleaning your teeth. You just go clean your teeth, okay? Or you just put your clothes on in the morning. So you can use really simple examples to reinforce for the bigger situations. Now, there's also a box over here. This is an exercise that I took from my amazing colleague, Bridget, who we coach each other regularly. Visualize the end of the day, right? What will bring you 1% closer to the project? Okay, what does it look like to be just 1% closer? And this is great to do before you decide what you're actually going to experiment with in the day, because often our brain will tell us we need to do like something big, something enormous. And then it decides, okay, well, but it's so big, we'll do it tomorrow, right? And that's where we end up in this procrastination cycle. When we lower the bar, and we say, okay, I only need to be 1% closer today, right? 1% closer is great. Then we start to see like, I guess I could send that email to that person, rather than I need to send 20 emails, okay? And then another quick question here, what's the belief gap, right? And the belief gap is a really interesting one to look at. And it just says like, how much do I believe this is possible? Okay, so how, if I really don't believe that I'm going to do this thing, why not? How can we close that gap? What action step? What do we need to think? And then finally, your plan. So this will look like a lot. The first time you do it, it might take 10 minutes, 20 minutes. But after that, once you get into the habit of it, you're just going to know this. You're just going to know this, right? This is going to come to you in a second. So we're really like building this kind of rapid way of answering it and taking these decisions. Question 1. So this is your plan for the day. What I like to do is just decide here, like, I will give 90 minutes to my project today, or I will give 3 hours. I've got a 3-hour window, or I've got 30 minutes. That's great. I'll give 30 minutes. Because otherwise, what we do is we start with a list of other people's priorities. And it will be, email this person, make this call, do this appointment. And then you get to the end of the day and you realize you didn't work on your priority on your project. So we want to decide here, this is the space, this is my priority, the project is my big goal. I'm going to do this, plan this, create that space for it. And then I will look at my commitments and my priorities to other people, which is super uncomfortable, right? I'm volunteering right now for a very big organization. I've just changed my role. I've gone from local to global, and the pressure to do the jobs for them before doing my work is very big, or it was very big until I realized this is why I created this. So now I know, okay, I've got these 2 hours or these 3 hours. I work on this, and then I've got my 30 minutes and I do what I can do in 30 minutes for the organization who I love, and I love working for them. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means you are putting in the work to prioritize your project. Okay, good. So 3 questions. Number 1, what's already working? We ask this question again to bring our brain back to how we've already created success. So an example of this might be when I looked at where all of my clients had come from and I made a list of them, they didn't actually come from the places that I was spending my time. I thought that social media would be a good place to spend my time, but actually they came from my network. Therefore, what's already working is using my network, right? I actually have a really great referral system. I have a great track record of people staying with me and referrals. So instead of investing time on social media right now, if I invest my time in my referrals and building that referral network, that is going to help me to hit my project, right? I can play with social media, but that's a different thing. That's an experiment. How can I help it to work more? This question usually for me is about dropping things, right? Very often the answer will be drop things because my instinct is to like do more. So very often it will be like, all right, let's kill LinkedIn. That LinkedIn experiment that you had, let's kill it, right? Let's come back to simplifying. For you, it might be the opposite. For you, it might be you need to take more actions. You want to be more visible, and that's how you can help it to work more. Number 3, what does future me need me to do? Now, this question is all about, remember, we've connected with our future self. We know who they are. We know they've achieved this goal already. They have the project. It's done. It's dusted. So rather than getting stuck in the decision making of today, what we want to think about is, okay, what will help future me? So for me, for a long time, this was the things that I was procrastinating over. Right. And it was, okay, my future self does not want to be dealing with all of the crap that I haven't dealt with today. She also knows that when I try to do all of them in one day, I end up doing none of them. So she needs me to simplify, lower the bar, and just do one thing and just get one of the nasty jobs done so that she feels good, she feels calm, she feels free in the future. Okay. So I'm going to put a Notion doc with this somewhere around wherever you're watching this video. I also invite you to join us to experiment with this inside the Life Atelier. We have a guest pass so that you can come to a live event and try it out. And if you're ready to actually get more tools and implement like this that are already like a bit more fancy, they're not just this work in progress, or get one-to-one coaching, join up, become an actual member of the Life Atelier. Every new member, while I have the capacity, gets a one-to-one coaching call with me. So you sign up, I'll send you my calendar, and then we'll get really clear and we'll fill this out together and we'll work out, okay, what is your project? What is your version of Project Croissant? And what's the most important thing to you? And what 3 goals do you want to focus on to support that happening whilst creating balance instead of hustling? All right, lovely. See you next week.